Welcome back everyone. I expect most of you know the drill by now, but to all you new viewers, hi, I'm still Mont, you can call me Alex, and we're here to talk some more about the lore of Dark Souls. In particular, a rather popular character. That's not all though, this is also the first of a special set of videos I've created to hopefully help pass the time until Dark Souls 2 is out. Now, I don't know about you, but time seems to pass much too fast for me these days. Seems like only yesterday I was making the Solaire video. I guess I'm getting old. Either way, we've got about 10 weeks to go until Dark Souls 2 is released. So I'm going to release one of these sort of videos every week until we have it in our hands. And not just that, I'll also be uploading a Soul Level 1 playthrough, so you guys can entertain yourselves by watching me fail miserably. But here's the first of 10. Countdown to Dark Souls 2, Week 1. A lore video special on the Xanthous King, Jeremiah. Some of you might be wondering, who? And I wouldn't blame you. Indeed, I expect the majority of people who own Dark Souls don't even know who he is. You might think that insane, but if you consider the number of people who own Dark Souls and yet have never completed it, well, I would wager it's a high percentage. Then again, can you really call those people players? Maybe, maybe not. That's not something I can decide. Owners might be a better word though. At any rate, the Painted World is something easily missed unless you know how to find it. And even then, if you happen to be human as you wander around a remote and near pointless part of that cold realm, you might just encounter one of the most bizarre Black Phantom invaders in the Souls series, the Xanthous King. Let's start with his name, shall we? Jeremiah, form of Yemaya, a name of Hebrew origin which means God has uplifted, the Lord exalts, and so forth. A kingly name indeed, and judging from his title, he is no less than a king. So what does Xanthous mean? Quite simply, Xanthous means yellow, or gold. It's a word of Greek origin, I believe, and it can also be used to refer to races with blonde hair and a fair complexion. In other words, his name is Yellow King Jeremiah, or if you prefer, Golden King Jeremiah. Considering that he wears bright yellow and seems to be quite pale, that would be a fitting name indeed. Now, that's his name, but what do we know about him? Precious little, for the man has no dialogue, and all we have to go on is his equipment and location. So let's start with the most telling, his armor set. A mysterious item once worn by the Xanthous King Jeremiah, the legendary exile. No one knows where it came from. The crown bears high quality cloth which is quite soft to the touch, but its bright yellow colour stings the eyes, and it is clearly far too big. The other pieces mention that they are tattered, so we can gather from this that Jeremiah has likely been there for some time, and he was exiled to the Painted World. But why? Now, we know the Painted World houses a number of objects deemed offensive or dangerous to the gods, or perhaps both. The occult ember, for example, Priscilla herself, and so forth. So what danger could the Golden King possibly have posed to Gwyn and his ilk? Well, let's have a look at his weapons first. He uses a notched whip, which is claimed to be only slightly effective against armor and scales, but formidable against flesh. So, Jeremiah comes from a land where they wear little armor and have weapons deadly to exposed flesh, or is this something unique to Jeremiah himself? And why does it bother to specifically mention scales? Could it be that Jeremiah's people were aligned with the dragons? That might explain why they use weapons that are ineffective against dragons, and that might also explain why Jeremiah was exiled. But there's little to reinforce that theory. It's nothing but speculation. But what of his other weapons though? The whip is Jeremiah's weakest attack, for he is a master of pyromancy, Chaos Storm, Great Chaos Fireball, and Chaos Fire Whip. How many other characters do we see with such expert control on the deadly chaos arts? Chaos Storm is a reward for the Chaos Servants, and has a strong connection to the Witch of Izalith. The Chaos Fire Whip was wielded by the eldest of the Daughters of Chaos. Does this mean there is some connection between Jeremiah and Izalith? Were his people the inhabitants of Lost Izalith and he the king? Now, you have to consider that in the game files the Bed of Chaos seems to be referred to as Izalith King, but as far as we know, the Bed of Chaos is actually the Witch of Izalith, and not the King? Or is the pyromancy not important at all? Are we looking at the wrong items? Maybe the pyromancy is happenstance. Perhaps Jeremiah happened to learn it in much the same way we did, before he was exiled to the Painted World, if that is indeed where he was exiled to. You know what else we have to consider? Man-Eater Mildred is a reference to a certain character in Demons' Souls, and if you've braved the Tower of Latria, you will know of the old monk's collar, an item that happens to bear a striking resemblance to the Xanthous Crown. And who is the old monk? Why, he's the Master of Latria, itself a level in Demons' Souls. As I understand, he was once the king of Latria, but was exiled or left for some reason, and then returned much later, subjugating the realm and deposing the queen and her new consort. An old man who sought the power of demons, and was destroyed by the Slayer of Demons, the counterpart to the chosen undead. Yet, before you can strike him down, the old monk summons another player to fight for him. The strange head collar wraps itself about the Black Phantom and empowers them. Why, just look at the description of the item. Head wrappings that were once the golden robe worn by the old master of Latria, and eventually took control of the then withered man. It is whispered that the robe now seeks to summon those who offer their aid, and carrying out its wishes grants them the use of these odd head wrappings. Could the golden garb be seeking out a new vessel to subjugate? Its enigmatic power increases spell effects, but also makes the wearer more vulnerable to spells. There are certainly some hints there that Jeremiah is a reference to the old monk, which he must likely be, as it's no coincidence how similar those two items look. The special note, however, is the fact that the old monk's hat makes the wearer weaker to magic, whereas the Xanthous Crown suffers no such drawback, but neither does it increase magical damage. Jeremiah himself has some of the best magic defense in the game. In fact, I believe his armor set has the highest magic defense in the entire game. That too doesn't mean that where he comes from, magic is more prevalent than blades. Indeed, for heavy armor is no protection against sorcery and pyromancy. Maybe Jeremiah's wars were fought with sorcery and pyromancy. That would explain a great deal. We've got a few possible theories then. First up, Jeremiah was exiled to the Painted World for some offense he caused. Maybe he sought to use his pyromancies to burn away the gods. Or perhaps he was the king of Izalith, sent into exile once his land was destroyed by the Bed of Chaos. Or perhaps he is simply a reference to the old monk and Latria. What do you guys think? I hope I've given you some food for the mind, so to speak, and making this video has given me the desire to make a spellbreaker character, one who uses the Xanthous set, great magic barrier, etc., and hunts down sorcerers, perhaps one of Havel's warriors who survived and maintained his grudge against Seath and all magic, and of the secrets of chaos pyromancy. I think then, in the words of Raiden, we're done here. I hope you guys enjoyed not just this video, but all my lore videos, and my channel in general. I think this is going to be the last character lore video for a while, although you can look forward to a special 2-part video in the upcoming weeks that I've been planning for a while, and I'll still be pushing out lots of other stuff for you to watch, all the way up to the release of Dark Souls 2, and once that hits, we can start talking about the new characters, and the lore concerning them. I'm looking forwards to that almost as much as I am looking forwards to getting my hands on Dark Souls 2, and exploring the world, and of course, playing with all you guys. Until then, take care, and I'll see you all soon.